Hi, I'm Brittany, and I'm in school to become a teacher. I am hoping to teach elementary school kids. I maybe like second grade to fourth grade, undecided. But this is my final project for Math 1350. And I would say that my favorite part of math is going to involve just straight numbers, because once you start getting, okay, hold on. Once you start adding in unknown variables, it gets kind of complicated. I have never been very good at math. I don't suspect I ever will be. And so I like to keep things just simple and clean. And on the flip side, the math that I hate the most is going to be math that involves unknown variables or putting equations inside of other equations, and the algebra sort of thing. It's not for me. So I'm going to teach percentages, and the reason I chose that is because it is something that we are going to use our whole life. If you go out to eat at a restaurant, you're going to tip your waiter a certain percentage of what you spent. Taxes are going to be a certain percentage of what your pay is. My daughter's singing, sorry. And then if you make purchases, there's sometimes fees that are going to be a certain percentage of the purchase price. So it's really important to just learn that at an early age. So this is going to be maybe for fourth graders. So let's get started. So first of all, what is a percentage? Well, it's a fraction, essentially. What you're trying to find is going to be a part of a whole, right? So here, for example, we have a whole object, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes, and then we have one shaded in. So this one is just a part of the whole thing, and a whole thing, or one, is going to be 100%, right? Okay, so let's start with some examples. And we'll go from there. Okay, so here I think a good one to start with is going to be just a clean cut, easy, no converting fraction. So here we have 25 over 100. Well, we know that 100 is a whole, right? And that we always want this bottom number to be a whole. So for this one, it's easy. We already know it's a whole, and this is just a part of the whole. So what you're going to do is take your numerator and write it, and then just add the percentage sign. So 25 over 100 is 25%. So the next one that I have chosen is 3 over 5. And I chose this one because it is a pretty simple one. What are we trying to do? Well, we need this bottom number to equal 100. So we need to know how many times 5 is going to go into 100. Well, most of us know that that is 20, right? So we know that 5 times 20 is going to equal 100. So anything we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So we're going to multiply 3 by 20, and that is going to be 60 over 100, right? So now that equals 60%. Okay, so another problem I thought would be good would be 12 over 5, because it is a improper fraction, and you would get to see what that looks like in a percentage form. And we already know that 20 times 5 equals 100. So we're going to do 12 times 20, that's 240. And now we have this whole, so that is 240%. Okay, so now some other problems that I thought would be good to do are decimals. So we have 8.6. Okay, so we have 0.7. Okay, so how do we make a decimal into a percentage? Well, all you're gonna do is take this decimal, because we know this is the tenths place, this is the hundredths place. So we take this decimal and we move it 1, 2 to the right, put it back, and then we start writing our percentage. So you start with the 7 because this is where the decimal was, right? And then this is an empty space, so we're gonna put a 0 there, and then percent. So 0.7 is 70%. So the next one I chose is 0.492, and again, we're just gonna go past the tenths, past the hundredths, 1, 2. So then that equals 49.2%. So then here we have 8.6, and that is a good example to proceed to, since just like with the fractions, it's an improper fraction, so you can see what that looks like. So we're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right, and you're going to get 860%. Okay, so then the last example is going to be a bubble solution, contains 4% soap. How much soap is in a 1.5 milliliter solution? And this is a good one to do just because it's a word problem, but it's pretty simple. So first thing we want to do is, what do we know? Well, we know that we have a 1.5 milliliter solution. And we also know that that solution is 4%. So you cannot multiply these two numbers together. You have to convert the percentage to the decimal. So we know that to do that, we're gonna just move the decimal point 1, 2 points to the left. So our decimal would be 0.04. So now we can multiply these together. And we get 0.06. So our answer is, we have 0.06 milliliters of bubbles or soap in the bubble solution, and that equals 4% of the total solution. Now, I think that some problems the students might have are going to be with word problems, especially just because our brains are wired to see math as numbers, and when you see it as words, it can get kind of confusing. So I think the best way to fix that is to just practice. I think it's one of those things that once you learn how to figure out what you know, what you need to know, it's like riding a bike. So how do I feel about online learning for elementary students? I don't really agree with it, just because there's so much more involved than academics when it comes to elementary school. At that age, kids are learning how to interact with others. They're learning how to live with a schedule, learning about responsibility. And when you do online learning at that age, it takes all of that away for example, I'm in this online course now and I haven't met a single classmate. So if I didn't have the social know-how, I wouldn't be learning it. So that is all I've got. And thanks for watching.